Hello everyone and welcome back to Abstract Algebra. This is going to be our first of, I think, two videos in Chapter 1. One thing I do want to mention about Chapter 1 is it is sort of an unusual chapter in that it's more or less there as motivation for Chapter 2, which is when we finally get to the main topic of the course, which is groups. You don't have to know what a group is yet or anything, so don't worry about that. But the point of Chapter 1 is sort of to make you understand what we mean by groups, because if you don't start with Chapter 1, it's easy to sort of get into them and think it's all numbers like we're used to, and it's not always that. But let me sort of talk to you about the general idea. A group is going to be some sort of set with an operation, and we don't want to get into exactly how that operation works just yet. There are going to be rules that it's going to have to obey. So that's just to sort of let you know how this how the concept is working. But what we're looking at specifically in Chapter 1 is what we call the symmetries of the square. And in other words, what we're going to be looking at here are what things we can do to this square, like this one that I'm showing you right here that's listed as original appearance. And I've only shown it one time, but we're going to assume that all of these down the line from the top to the bottom originally start with the same picture that I've drawn there. So that's the square. You'll notice I've labeled the corners. Here I put them as colors. That's what the book does. You could label them with numbers, it doesn't matter. But the idea is we want to figure out what things we can do to that square to go from original appearance to new appearance. An appearance where it, I guess I shouldn't say has definitely changed, but may or may not have changed. And here how we want to think about this is think of the square as an actual physical object, like as if you have a piece of paper in front of you and you have those corners labeled. And you want to think about things you can do to the actual square piece of paper to change where the corners are in relation to where they originally were. So that's the idea here. This video is probably going to be pretty short. We'll get into it a little bit more in detail in the next video, but we'll just go ahead and start with this one. And what I'd like for you all to do is actually cut out a square piece of paper. It doesn't have to be perfectly square, just so it looks square enough and it's roughly square. Label the corners with colored pens. They don't have to be the same color, but they just have to be, those ones are good, but they don't have to be those same colors. They just have to be 4 different colors. Ideally, and this is sort of a hint here, so, I might be spoiling some things, but whatever. You want to be able to see the colors on both sides of the square. So the corner is labeled with that color, but that color is sort of fixed both sides. And then what I want you to do is figure out the things you can do to that square. It's still going to have the same ending position. In other words, it's not going to become a diamond, like it's not going to be at an angle. It's still going to be, on whatever you're setting up as your axes. But what you can do to it to change the different colors that we've got here on the corners to new positions. And let me go ahead and have you pause it and see if you can figure that out. You'll notice I have 8 things here. That's a hint. There actually are 8 things that you should be able to come up with. And hopefully you can come up with all of them. But if not, come up with as many as you can. And then we'll come back when you're done and we'll talk about what they are and how that changes the appearance. All right, if everybody is done with their attempt, let's start off with one that you might have missed, but I sort of implied it earlier. The first thing we can do to the square is absolutely nothing. Leave it alone. If I leave it alone, the corners don't change colors. They stay the way they originally were, and nothing was done. We could actually put a name to this, and we will here in a second, but I'm going to name it after we get to the next couple, so we can actually see how this relates to those. So that's our first option. No changes. Let me actually type that out over here. No change. So there we go. So that's one option that we've got here. No change at all. The next one, well, the first thing you might have thought to do, and it's probably the first thing, is you might have started rotating the square. And that's going to be our second one. You can rotate the square 90 degrees, and then the blue moves to the upper left-hand corner, the red moves to the upper right-hand corner, the yellow moves to the lower right-hand corner, and the green moves to the lower left-hand corner. So we would call this, hang on, there we go, rotation 90. Wonder if I have a symbol here for degrees. No, I do not. Doesn't look like I do anyway. Because that would be too nice, right? Alright, so let's just call it degrees. And let's actually say which direction we're going. We're rotating this clockwise. Okay, so that is our second option. Actually, before I commit to that, let me check the book and make sure that they didn't do this all counterclockwise. And it doesn't matter, but I don't want to have things too much different from what they had in the book. Let's see. Nope, they moved them counterclockwise. Hang on. Let's fix that then. So let's call this counterclockwise instead. And the question is, will that be the same? Well, obviously, no, it won't. So I will have to change these, what do you call them, the corners. Okay, so let's zoom in. Let's repair these first. And over here. Okay, now if we go counterclockwise, well, let me actually draw a little arrow here. Counterclockwise should mean we go around this way. And let's actually go ahead and put those colors in where they would be now. So counterclockwise, green goes up, yellow goes left, red goes down, blue goes right. Okay, so that's what happens if we rotate it counterclockwise. Now, of course, you could do this clockwise, and as we'll see, what I actually will wind up with, the same thing that I had put down there for rotation 90 degrees clockwise. We'll see that showing up later on, but we'll just have it a different way. So once we talk about rotation, it's probably a good idea. Hang on. It's probably a good idea for all the rotations to take place clockwise, or counterclockwise, sorry. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do 2 more rotations, both again counterclockwise, but obviously we've already done 90 degrees. So our next option is, well, how many degrees could we move from there? 90 more, which would give us 180 degrees. Let me fix that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so then we rotate another round clockwise. So blue moves up, green moves to the left, yellow moves down, red moves to the right. And then we're only going to have one more rotation that is that's going to be left, that's not going to result in the same thing we started with here, and that is, well, let's just go ahead and do it here first. So again, 90 more degrees counterclockwise. Red moves up, yellow moves to the right, green moves down, and blue moves to the left. And this one obviously is rotation of 270 degrees. Let me make sure that this is hopefully that's good. These things are supposed to snap, but they don't always snap the way I would like them to. Okay, so these 4 are rotations. Now you'll notice I only did 4 of these. We could continue rotating, but once we get past 270 degrees, another 90 degree rotation gives us 360 degrees, and then we're back up here in the no change category, right? So, we don't want to go around again. Now we can actually name these. I'm going to go ahead and name these here, even though it's not necessary for what we're doing right now. And I'm going to call them R with a subscript of how many degrees clockwise we rotated them. So our first one, where we had no change, we're just going to call that R0. You could call it R360 if you wanted, but we're going to call it R0. And the other 3 are R90, R180, and R270. Okay, so those are our first 4 things we can do to the square. And those ones are maybe the easiest ones to come up with, although I did sort of hint at what some of the other ones we could do are. And let's go ahead and come up with those here real quick. And the next one is, well, actually all of the next 4 are things that we have to do, that we have to actually flip the square over to do. And as you might find out, there are 4 different ways to flip the square. One is along, hang on, let me try and make this, along a vertical line through the center. One is on a horizontal line through the center. One is on a diagonal line through the center from upper left to lower right, and the other one is on the other diagonal. Okay, so these are the other ones. So let me actually name them here. So this one will be a vertical flip. This one will be a horizontal flip. This one will be, I'm going to call it the main diagonal flip. And the other one we'll call the off diagonal flip. Main and off diagonal aren't like technical terms or anything, but you need to come up with a way to describe it. And that's shorter than saying, what do you call it, upper left to lower right or whatever. we go. Okay, so let's take a look at what we do here. If we flip this vertically, oh, I swapped those, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay. If we flip these vertically, well, here all of the left-hand colors get moved to the right and vice versa. So here we go. Blue and red go there. Yellow and green go here and here. If we flip them horizontally, the top ones go to the bottom. So we go, and vice versa, we go green up there, red down there, yellow down there, and blue up there. It's possible I'll make a mistake on this, but I'm trying to be careful. So the next one is a main diagonal flip. Oops. Here what we're going to see is, I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. Here what we're going to see is those two on the main diagonal, the red and the green, are going to stay where they are, but the blue and the yellow will flip. So blue will go up to the upper right, yellow will go down to the lower left, red stays where it is, green stays where it is, and the other one, red and green, get flipped. So green goes to the upper left, red goes to the lower right. And yellow stays where it is, and blue stays where it is. There we go. Okay. And so these ones we actually name as well. We call this one V, this one H, this one D, and this one D prime. So essentially these are the 8 different things you can do to the corners of your square as a real world kind of thing. I mean, obviously if you're doing some weird stuff, you could like say, oh, I'm going to change all the corners to green now, and I'll be happy with that. But you know, you can't do that to the actual physical square that you've got. Actually, let me make that one look a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so here, these are the 8 different things we can do, and what we're going to be talking about next time, and so this is going to be, like I said, a short video. Next time we're going to talk about what happens when we do one of these things and then another one, what we wind up with. And we'll see if we do one of these operations, one of these rotations or flips, and then follow it with another one, we're going to see that our final output is going to be something interesting, something that's something that maybe will make us think this is some things are happening that maybe are important. Anyway, I think that'll be it for today. Hopefully you like this. I mean, it's like Twister, right? It's like all the colors. The book uses different colors, I think, but here we've got, you know, I've got these, what do you call it, highlighters up here, so I thought I'd use them. Anyway, that's what we'll do next time, is we'll look at what happens when we repeat these one after another. And so you might actually want to look at that on your own in between this and the next video. And I will get to that soon, and you let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to working with you some more. Have a good day. Bye.